We are the Force. We are Florida.
It's a Friday night in South Florida. The Braves and the Marlins, second game of a four-game set here at Marlins Park. Glad you're with us. Very special weekend, of course, across Major League Baseball, as it is Players Weekend. So we'll see some different uniforms with players' nicknames on the back. No, not that Holly. A different Holly. Brian Holiday. All Starlin, all kinds of fun stuff. And Fulte and Thunder. Mike Fultonevich and Dan Straley, who get the starts tonight. Inside the broadcast booth, Paul Severino and Todd Hollandsworth with you. This is a fun weekend. Get to express yourself a little bit as a player.
Yeah, I love to see it. I love to see the nicknames. And again, the appreciation that so many of these players get to show family members, children, a lot of it all coming together, because it is. Listen, I live this, and you go out there and you try to have the success on the field, but you realize it takes a family, it takes an army to have a great career.
No question about it. It also may take an army to beat the Atlanta Braves. This team has been unbelievable as of late. They've won 7 straight against the Marlins, but overall they're playing great baseball, the first place team. And since they put Ronald Acuna Jr. in the top spot in the lineup, unreal.
And I'll tell you what, I know so much has been made out of the home runs and the leadoff homers, but it's his energy. And I continue to say this, just watching him trying to leg out ground balls to short is about as much fun with him as it is with anybody in the game of baseball. This man, he plays this game right, 100 miles an hour. Everything that he's trying to do is to beat the competition. I love what you see at the top. Certainly the power has been on display here in the second half, but again, I'll say it, the energy that he brings to that top spot, to me, is what's really helping this Atlanta Braves offense.
Last night during the game, we talked about two guys who faced off in D.C., Aaron Nola, Max Scherzer, maybe in that Cy Young discussion, Jacob deGrom, of course, as well. And you brought up tonight's starter, Mike Fultonevich, as maybe a dark horse.
Well, maybe a little bit farther down the list. If I were to give you a top 5, he would be in it. He would just probably be more towards that 4 or 5 spot, the 2.72 ERA. He's thrown the ball very well against the Marlins and just about everybody else this season, but he's peaking at the right time. And guess what? Here's the impressive stuff. He had an ERA just under 5 last year. Not only has he pitched well this year, he's turned into, at least in my opinion, the ace of the Braves staff.
On the other side, it's Dan Straley going to try to right the ship, get the Marlins back in the win column against these Atlanta Braves.
Well, the great thing about Dan, he's got a couple of wins against the Braves. Listen, the Marlins only got 3 this year. He's got 2 of them. That's what you want to know. So he's got hopefully a good feeling going tonight.
He's got his Players Weekend jersey rocking it too. Leading the way a little bit more on Ronald Acuna Jr. in the top spot for the Braves, with the guys in center after the break. Of 4. Talked a lot about Ronald Acuna Jr. the last few weeks. We'll talk more with the guys in center field.
Well, the guy's been amazing. Single A to Triple A last year. He's come up here and he's set Major League Baseball on fire, really.
Yeah, absolutely. I think a lot of people forget that he spent some time on the disabled list early in the year with a left knee sprain. He missed about a month's worth of action, so he wasn't always the leadoff guy. But ever since he started hitting that leadoff spot, he's been taken off, and you can see the difference from Acuna in the leadoff spot and other positions. And I don't have to remind you, Nelly, and I'm going to bring it up, but 13 for 26, 7 straight games now against the Marlins.
He's a great leadoff hitter, I think, because he's a good first pitch fastball hitter. He loves dead red. And when you hang it like Hernandez did last night, a little spinner, 2-2 slider, he can jump all over that. And plus he has opposite field power. We saw that in Atlanta, him take that home run to right field. He hits to all fields. You know, I even hear his name being mentioned as, hey, this could be the next Mike Trout. I don't like comparisons, but as far as him coming up and doing what he's doing in the big leagues at a young age, that's exactly what Mike Trout did.
20, wow. Off-speed stuff the key tonight?
Well, you got to do what Garrison. You got to intimidate the guy to try to move his feet just a little bit and watch that first couple pitches.
But you have to get ahead to do that.
Exactly.
We're going to keep talking. We're going to send you to break. We'll keep this conversation going. Game 2 of the 4-game series coming up. We'll get to Yakaya in the postgame. See if the Marlins can solve Atlanta. Paul and Holly with the call coming up on Fox Sports Florida. Enjoy it.
In my hand, nickel sand like the party. 95 South Valley in the dawn. Hit a button, drop the top on the stadium. To the sky from the ground, I'm away. GPS when you're lost, I'm the ways. From the bottom to the top, blew a million. Turn around, headed home to put my city on. Marlins, stand up. We just getting started. They don't wanna see it started. We just getting started. We just getting started. Looking at my rear view, ain't nobody in my way.
Great way to start a Friday night as Thunder takes the mound. That's right, Players Weekend, nicknames all over the place. Going to be a fun weekend for sure. Glad you're with us. The Braves starting lineup is presented to you by Southwest. Ronald Acuna Jr. at the top. We have certainly documented his recent hot streak. Ender Inciarte behind him. Of course, Freddie Freeman, Nick Markakis go 3-4 in this batting order, and Dansby Swanson back in the lineup tonight. They've been going back and forth with he and Charlie Culberson at shortstop the last few weeks as Acuna Jr. lifts one out to left center field. It will be Austin Dean calling off Sierra, and there's one away.
Paul,
Paul, did I hear you steal my thunder?
I did. I stole it. But I tried to downplay it because I knew you were going to deliver.
Well,
right
I was
now.
going to try to deliver, but I think you've stolen my thunder.
No thunder. There's plenty of thunder left.
Dan Thunder Straley. I don't know. I just felt like it was so appropriate.
Well, we
I don't know. I lost my mojo.
Show the shot of him and Thunder, and people ask what roster move was made with Thunder on the roster. Who is this guy?
Dan Marley. I think there's a connection there, right? Thunder Dan. Love it. Dan struggling a little bit here in the second half. 6 starts, 5.29 ERA. Yeah, there's one thing that you're going to pay attention to tonight. Great numbers, well, pretty good numbers, I should say, anyway, against the Braves. He's got 2 wins, most important. Of course, the Marlins only have 3 wins against the Braves this season. 4.02 ERA against them. Quality starts in 7 of 20.
Ender Inciarte takes upstairs. A ball and 2 strikes to Inciarte, who had a couple of hits in last night's ball game, including that home run off of Harlan Garcia in the 5th inning last night. Braves hit 3 home runs in last night's ball game. A victory for Atlanta, 5-0 to open up this 4-game series. Last time the Marlins and Braves will meet this year. Popped up behind short. It is Riddle for out number 2.
Here's the Marlins defensively for tonight's ball game. Dean once again getting the start in left field. Sierra in center. Ortega in right. Anderson and Riddle left side of the infield. Rojas making his 3rd start at second base this season. Dietrich over at first, and JT behind the plate for Dan Straley. Here's Miguel Rojas. Around the infield. He's done a very nice job no matter where you put him. Well, for Dan Straley tonight, for me, he's got to find a way to control the lefties. He's done a pretty decent job of doing that against the Braves, but you certainly know the story of Albies and Markakis and Freeman and the likes, what the lefties have really done. Here are the numbers. 389 batting average, 500 on base percentage against Dan Straley in the 3 starts this year. But he has really controlled the righties. Only 1 hit allowed to a Braves right-handed hitter.
Well, no hits allowed in the 1st inning. A couple of fly balls and a strikeout to the bottom of the 1st. By Southwest, transparency, low fares, nothing to hide. By WB Mason, who but WB Mason, the official office supply company of the Miami Marlins. By Chevrolet, see your South Florida dealer today. And by your local Toyota dealer, Toyota, let's go places. Rafael Ortega will lead things off as Dan Straley goes 1-2-3 against the Braves in the 1st with a strikeout of Freeman to end it. So we look at the Marlins starting lineup presented to you by Southwest. Ortega to lead it off. Derek Dietrich in the cleanup spot at first base, and JT Riddle Up to a 6-game hit streak thanks to a hit late in the ball game last night. Mike Fultonavich on the mound delivers a strike to Ortega, who has a hit streak of his own. He is currently 12 for 32 during his 8-game hit streak.
There is Fulty's numbers on the season, making his 25th start, 10th career start against the Marlins. 5-1 with a .331 in his career.
Fly ball out to center field for the first out.
You can see he's had a very impressive season. 2.72 ERA, 139 innings, 161 strikeouts. Let's go ahead and get you the AutoNation scouting report while we're at it. It's been a fast first inning. No change here. 2-0 with a .69 ERA against the Marlins in 2018. Last time he faced the Marlins, which was just a couple starts ago, August 13th. 8 innings, 1 earned run. Keep this in mind. Threw more curveballs in that start than any other this season. Seek the heat. And yep, you heard me say it. Fulty, who throws about as hard as anybody in baseball, upper 90s fastball. You've already seen 98. Batting average against non-fastball pitches, 130. That is best in Major League Baseball. That's a pretty impressive list he's on. Here's the deal. Early count aggressiveness for the Marlins hitters, it's the way to go. First pitch, 1-0, 0-1. Much of the time, the best strike you're going to get, the best batting averages against, are early in the count against Fultonavich.
Braves lost in 10 innings his last time out against the Colorado Rockies, part of that 4-game sweep. But they have won 4 games since, winning 3 in a row in Pittsburgh in the game last night. He's ahead of JT Realmuto, a ball and 2 strikes. 7 below the zone to even things up.
A few things to keep your eye on tonight. Fultonavich, he's never gone 7 innings or more in 3 consecutive starts, and coming into tonight, in fact, has 2 starts of 8 innings and 7 innings. See how long he goes tonight.
All-star this year for the first time in his career. Fultonavich winds and deals, and JT chases that one. And that's the second out of the inning.
Let's take another look. This is his go-to pitch. You see it. It's up underneath Flowers just a bit there. First strikeout of the night. Keep an eye on that as well. It's actually quite impressive pitch. It's the one pitch that's kind of turned his, well, we'll say if you're going to compare last year to this year. Last year actually got more of his strikeouts on that 4-seam fastball that we talk about, 97, 98 miles an hour. This year it has been so much about the slider. That is the 83rd strikeout he's picked up this season on his slider. 121 batting average against coming in tonight.
Great slider and great velocity. That one at 98 miles an hour, top of the zone, to get in front of Brian Anderson, 0-2. And he was 0-4-2 last night, hit by a pitch a couple of times. Fouls this one off.
The Braves defensively for tonight's ball game. Acuna Jr. once again in left, Inciarte in center, Markakis in right, Camargo, Swanson, and Albies turned 43 double plays, second most in Major League Baseball. Freeman over at first and Flowers behind the plate.
Back to 2 balls and 2 strikes to Brian Anderson. He's been at third base the last week or so and figures to stay there, barring any sort of emergency the rest of the way. He's certainly done a terrific job starting the season at third, moving to right field, and now As Don Mattingly's talked about the last couple of days, probably stay at third the rest of the way. We saw Martin Prado take some ground balls at first base yesterday before the game. Bottom line is this: it is a flexible roster for Don Mattingly, and the more flexible it can be. I mean, Martin Prado's a guy who, you know, certainly been all over the diamond at times in his career, all sorts of different positions. But for Martin, still working his way back from the disabled list. It's just a matter of staying healthy. Taking BP the last few days. Every time you see him, says he feels great. Working his way back. Another 2-2 pitch from Foltynewicz. Sent out to center field. Inciarte will make the catch. And both pitchers set down the side in order in the first. Matt? I would have gone with Donnie. Donnie Baseball, right? It's going with Matt for Mattingly.
Yeah, why don't you make your way down there and ask him about
it? No. I'm not saying he's wrong. I'm just saying it surprises me. That's all.
Well, you think Donnie Baseball, right? I'm with you. Just trying to get you in trouble.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Trust me, I could get in enough on my own. I believe we've already tested those limits. Here's Nick Markakis swinging at the first pitch and fouling it back. It is Markakis, Camargo, and Albies for the Braves in the second. A 10-pitch first inning for Dan Straley. I'm just telling you right now, I will absolutely say Dan Marley at some point tonight. Just letting you know that I will do that. Now, part of that, as Markakis sends this one down the left field line foul, is because we have surmised that it's Thunder Dan Marley, Thunder Dan Straley. Came up with that, but also the fact that the home plate umpire tonight, Nick Marley.
Yeah, we were kind of bouncing this off all sorts of walls, right? Well, what was Dan Marley known for?
The threes.
Well, Dan Straley's going for his third win tonight against the Atlanta Braves.
It's really the stars aligning. Stop. You got to get out of the way of this.
Thunder Dan.
C.B. Buckner, the umpire, at first. The crew chief Fielding Culbreth at second, and Chris Conroy is over at third. Outside to Markakis, 2 balls and 2 strikes. Nick had a couple of hits in last night's ball game. give him 156 this year, which is tops in the National League.
Well, one thing Markakis has worked really hard on this season and gives a lot of his, well, a lot of credit to his success, is really trying to get that front foot down early and see the ball out in front. That doesn't mean you're necessarily looking to pull everything, but the idea is to, instead of allowing the ball to get deep in the zone, get it a little bit more out in front as early as he can.
Lost to Max Scherzer in the Nationals in his last start. He had 9 walks in his first 2 starts in August, but no walks in that start against Washington. As he goes full to Markakis here in the 2nd inning. Hard hit to first. Dietrich will make the play.
Miami, join us for our neighborhood series. We are hosting a Miami Beach Day at Marlins Park on Sunday at 1:10 when the Marlins host the Braves. Start at just $12 for all residents and city employees. For more information, visit marlins.com/neighborhood.
Johan Camargo ropes the first one down and into the corner, where Ortega will dig this one out. Camargo on his way to second with a leadoff double. His 8th double this year against the Marlins.
Now Camargo's going to jump all over a first pitch slider in. JT reaching back across the plate. Told you about the splits. This is a talented Atlanta Braves lineup, and boy oh boy are their lefties even better. Watch out, Bird. Ball gets into the corner.
So kind to the wildlife. You really are.
I didn't even see that bird get hit.
Nobody did. Ozzie Albies, 21 homers, 62 RBIs, but has been a little bit cold as of late as they check on Camargo.
Look at this. It's going right for him. He even reverse pivot, little reverse pivot before getting out of there.
Breaking down footwork of a bird right now.
I just saw it.
Excellent.
What do you think when he sees this coming at him at 100 miles an hour? It's like stepping out on the freeway here in South Florida.
That's right. Just glad he didn't leave any extra chalk down in the corner. Balls and no strikes to Albies. 6 for 37, no extra base hits in his last 9 games. One of the reasons why he has been moved down in the order to number 6. He's been there since the opener against the Pittsburgh Pirates a few days ago. It's moved Inciarte up. Those 2 guys have flip-flopped. Even though it just seems like we see the Braves every day, we don't. Didn't see him at all in April, won't see him in September. So you put all those games into the middle 4 months of the season, you see a lot of this club. They might have 1 or 2 guys who are not clicking at the time, but we haven't seen this entire team struggle all season.
Well, it seems like they cover for each other very well.
Exactly.
That's you know, with Charlie Culberson in the lineup if somebody seems to be slowing down on the infield. They've had just about every answer you could hope to come up with. You know, a lot of what they do is put in motion by the fact that they've got 2 of the steadiest guys in the game in Markakis and Freeman, who play every day, every inning, don't miss the at-bat, don't come off the field. I mean, for a manager, that is a huge advantage, knowing that the middle of your lineup is literally writes itself out every day.
They are the pillars of this lineup. 3-2 to Albies. Takes that one outside. 2 on and 1 out for Tyler Flowers. It's the first walk issued by Straley tonight. Sets up a force at any base for Flowers. And 223 on the season. Seen him each of these first 2 nights. Kurt Suzuki hit with a pitch in Pittsburgh a couple of nights ago. Still working his way back from that. That's not to say that Flowers hasn't made the most of his opportunities. A .360 on base percentage over the course of his last 19 games. So the hitting and the offensive production contagious for this Atlanta Braves team that is 3 clear of the competition in the National League East at the start of play. That might be the ground ball he wanted. Riddle to Rojas and over to Dietrich for the 6-4-3 double play. A big twin killing to get out of a jam in the second. Copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of the Miami Marlins and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Miami Marlins. Paul Severino, Todd Hollinsworth with you here on a Friday night. Glad that you're with us. Thanks so much. Second of a 4-game set. Last regular season meeting between the Marlins and the Braves this season. Derek Dietrich to lead it off. Austin Dean and JT Riddle against Mike Fultonevich. Dietrich swings at the first pitch and will test Inciarte in center field for the first out. The third put out today for Inciarte. The Toyota inside look. Austin Dean, his last 28 games. Last 7 have been in the Major League Club, but overall hitting .385, 10 doubles, 6 homers. It's one of the reasons why this guy was a player of the week at the time of his call-up. He's been really rolling the last month.
Right, and I think what's been impressive, I'll use the last 4 games as where we kind of zone in on what we've seen from Dean. 7 for 17, 2 doubles, a homer, 4 RBIs. RBIs in 3 of the 4 games. It's the approach. It's the ball off the bat, exit velocity, the thing that's impressed me the most. It's not that he's, hit a 2-run homer and crushed it, and and hit a 16 hopper through the left side, and maybe got another line drive base hit somewhere else. It has been line drive, line drive, line drive. He has been impressive. I'm not sure he's actually by definition, gotten a cheap hit yet, if you know what I mean.
Even his foul balls get attention.
Up underneath the mask. Tyler Flowers looks like he's going to be okay.
I'm glad you mentioned the exit velocity of Austin Dean. I looked it up today. A 43% hard contact rate over the course of the last 7 days. It's 25 at bats, so a little less than half of those at bats have resulted in hard contact. And we talk about this all the time. You hit the ball hard, you quote unquote barrel it up, the hits are going to fall.
You go back to his first hit, the home run down the left field line in DC, and I think it was about well over 108 miles an hour. And we talked about confidence, kind of like that pressure had been released. What does he do as soon as he gets back here? Starts just pounding the ball to all fields.
Chases that one. And it's the second strikeout of the night for Fultonevich. 2 away here in the second.
Well, it's the slider once again, using that 89-90 range. Hitters feel the need to defend it, particularly the righties, because it's on its way to that outside edge right about the knees, but more times than not ends up blowing away. It's a very, very tough pitch to lay off of.
Here is JT Riddle. A 6-game hit streak for him, extended it last night with a single in the 9th inning. Takes a strike at 97 miles an hour over the course of that hit streak. 10 for 22, 3 home runs, and 9 RBIs. I thought your breakdown last night, time in the demo den, just breaking down the slight adjustment in his hands was fascinating to really show folks at home, especially some of those young kids, you don't have to completely overhaul your swing to get instant results. This one out to the left of center field. It will be Acuna Jr. making the play in the gap. And a 1-2-3 second here in Miami. And Marlins are scoreless, just 1 hit on the board. That was a double for Johan Camargo, but Dan Straley able to get a double play ball to get out of some trouble in the second inning. So we play on. It'll be Dansby Swanson, Mike Foltynewicz, and Ronald Acuna Jr. for the Braves. 8-9-1 here in the third. So Swanson digs in with 12 homers and 52 RBIs. Swings through that pitch from Straley, 0-1. It was Culberson that got the start last night, but on Tuesday night in Pittsburgh, home runs in the 5th and 7th. First career multi-home run game for Dansby Swanson.
Comes in swinging a hot bat. He's got a hit in 10 of his last 11 ball games with 4 home runs and 12 RBIs. A few of the Braves people kind of implied that he's been feeling a little push from Culberson. Culberson's been playing well. Every time he's gotten the opportunity to step on the field, as the Marlins can certainly attest to. I just think it's interesting because we talk so much internal competition, organizationally speaking, when we think of the Marlins. An opportunity applies everywhere you go. Now, Swanson probably being pushed by Culberson's performance this year.
Well, that's good twofold. One, it keeps the player on their toes on a daily basis, and two, it keeps the team with options. I mean, they're still winning games. This Braves club has won 18 of 26 overall, so they're still winning games. But if it got to a point where they needed to make some kind of a change, let's just say that the Albies cold streak continues, well, then Culberson can play second base for a few days if he's hot. I mean, they have options. Straley's 2-2 pitch on the way is fouled straight back. Eight-game hit streak for Swanson. He's 10 for 29 with 3 home runs in that stretch. Couple of wins this year for Straley against the Atlanta Braves, but when he faced the Braves at SunTrust Park, a season high in hits and runs back on July 31st, as this one is fouled off. In fact, earned runs too with 5, so 11 hits, 8 runs, 5 of them earned July 31st, but the first 2 starts much better than that. Another 2-2 pitch.
Well, I'll tell you what. I've already seen what the Braves do. Of course, this game's scoreless, and certainly that's where the Marlins want to keep it. But long, lengthy at bats. 9 pitches to Markakis. 9th to Swanson. These guys grind. Boy, oh boy, they put together some at bats, don't they?
They do. They're fouling a lot of pitches off. My goodness. Well, not that one. If it was fouled at all, it was into the glove for the second strikeout tonight.
Hey, Marlins fans, now you can stream games live on your mobile device with Fox Sports Go, presented by Coors Light. Download the app and take Fox Sports Florida and Marlins baseball wherever you go.
The pitcher Mike Foltynewicz straightened up on the first offering from his counterpart Dan Straley. 3 hits, including a double this year for Foltynewicz. Overall for Straley, last 5 starts, he is 0-2 with a 6.39 ERA. He's trying to become a little bit more consistent. Last time against the Nats, Don Mattingly said after the game, the really just kind of picked at him for runs. One here, one there. The Nats will start to add up. They'll give up a home run to Ryan Zimmerman on a ball that leaked back over the plate for Zim to hit. First time through the order here, he's got 3 strikeouts. 2 away in the 3rd.
And the last 2 on the slider. Another good slider from Dan.
Back to the top of the order for Ronald Acuna Jr. One bounced in for ball 1. Well, last night he did it again. He has had the Marlins number this year. Seventh home run, 18 RBIs, 20 for 60 against Miami in 2018. Oh, and he got hit by a pitch, too. Talked a little bit about that. Javi Guerra hit him with a pitch. And then later in the game, a couple of inside pitches to JT Realmuto that missed. And then Brian Anderson was hit a couple of times. Certainly made more news nationally. We got into it pretty great depths last night. We won't rehash it all. As Acuna rips this one fair down the left field line and into the corner. Hustling into second, thinking about it. And he'll stay there with a 2-out double.
Acuna was thinking about one thing, 3-0. Dead red, and if he gets anything he can get his arms around, he was going to come unhinged, as they say, and he certainly did. See how strong he is on the backside. Look at the finish. Puts it into the corner. Always hustling. I'll tell you, it's pretty impressive the speed at which this young man plays the game. One time I've seen him walks on a home run.
I would agree. Now it's Ender Inciarte. Another extra base hit allowed with 2 outs. Braves came into this ball game slugging .611 with 2 outs against the Marlins this year. Anderson on the grass at third, and Inciarte takes a called strike. Ender with a pop-up behind shortstop back in the first inning. Hitting .284 entering the game since the All-Star break. In Atlanta right around the trade deadline. Saw the moves that they made, fortifying their bullpen and getting Kevin Gausman, who'll start Sunday. Also Adam Duvall. Duvall hasn't hit much with the Braves, but at the time thought maybe would take some playing time away from Inciarte. But game ender has certainly kept it up. His end of the bargain to solidify his playing time.
Oh, not only that, supplied a few spots in the lineup as well. I mean, it kind of is exemplary of how things operate. It's not that he was going to lose his job. You hinted at possibly losing some playing time. I think people really thought that's how it was going to go with Acuna, obviously getting the bulk of the playing time. Markakis doesn't leave the field. But he's played great second half, which he traditionally does, and it's gotten him out of the 6th spot in the lineup and up to the number 2 spot.
Straley had a 10-pitch first inning tonight. This next one will be number 53 with 2 outs in the third. Outside, 3 balls and 2 strikes with Freddie Freeman on deck. Or Andrew, whatever.
It's going to be Andrew for the remaining days of this weekend, as far as you're concerned. Thunder, for crying out loud.
Right. Well, his name is Frederick Charles Freeman, nickname Andrew. Should I get that one? Oh, his older brother. Ah, okay. Three balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs with Acuna Jr. off of second. This one popped up. Anderson in fair territory makes the play. Well, it took a little work, but Straley gets through the third. Still scoreless. Coach for the Marlins as we move to the last of the third. Mike Fultonevich will face the bottom of the Marlins order. Miguel Rojas, Magneuris Sierra, and Dan Straley. Rojas is at second base today. He's certainly bounced around the diamond this year for the Marlins. Came up with a big home run the other night against the New York Yankees. It was after kind of trying to get back to full health. It was in Atlanta that he jammed his ankle against the third base bag on a slide attempt, and he was limited to pinch hit duties for about a week. So when he was able to get back in there, impacted the game in a big way. His family in town. A special night for Miggy. He's up to 10 homers and 48 RBIs this season. His mom, grandpa, family, all here for the weekend. Said he might even travel them too.
Well, he keeps hitting big 3-run home runs. I don't see why not.
One and Mickey Rowe pops this one up. Fultonevich will give way for Freeman. We check in with Craig.
Sevy, it is a weekend of nicknames. And you just mentioned Perry Hill. His nickname, we often refer to him as Bone. Known him a long time since he's been with the Marlins. I never knew why Bone. I don't know if you guys did. So I asked him today. He said when he was growing up on Saturdays, he said they didn't have a dishwasher back in the house when he was a kid. And on Saturdays, they always had fried chicken, and he loved to eat the chicken, and especially the drumstick, down to the bone. But he'd bring the plate over to get clean in the dishwasher. Not in the dishwasher, I should say in the sink, guys. And then he would walk around with that drumstick with no meat on it. And his Aunt Nene said, "You always have that bone. Why do you always have that bone?" And she started calling him Bone from the drumstick that he always had in his hand. Never wanted to become a drummer, though, which was interesting.
Well,
but I didn't know that. All these years been calling him Bone. That's where he got it from as a kid, from his Aunt Nene.
That's amazing. Terrific stuff, Craig. Thanks so much.
You're welcome, Seppi.
Thank you. Craigers, do you have one? What's yours?
Yeah, the first name there, Craiger, Minnie, I guess. You know,
okay.
Typical kind of play off the sports name.
Right.
He's the mayor of Marlins Park.
No doubt about it. Casanova, even. Some might say. Freeman catches this pop-up off of Sierra's bat, and there are 2 away. Well, Perry Hill's love for chicken has gone so far as to get him a mini field named after him in Jupiter at the Marlins Spring Training Complex, the Boneyard.
Well, I mean, even around baseball, I think it's funny how some nicknames kind of stay. You see the ball right there. Don't stand in that spot. That's in the dugout. You know, when somebody, you know, has a nickname and has it for a very long time, that people around the game start to know the human, the individual, as the nickname.
Right.
If you were to ask people around the game, say, name one of the best infield instructors in the game, you'll probably hear more people tell you Bone as opposed to Perry Hill, because they have seen him and they know him, and they know how he's affiliated, obviously, with the Marlins and the organization and his incredible track record. But people around the game, hey, well, that's Bone. Do you know his actual name? Yeah, no, Bone.
It's
Perry Hill.
Steve something, isn't
Well,
it?
you know what I mean, right?
Exactly, right.
And that happens a lot in our game. Now, Thunder, I don't know if that's stuck yet with Marley here. I mean, Straley,
Straley, right, yeah. Well, he was the one, he Instagrammed it today, and that because I thought, well, Thunder Dan Marley, Thunder Dan Straley, okay, it might make sense. And then I was scrolling through Instagram today, and I see that he had put the split screen, and he said something along the lines of who wore it better, and he had the faces, him and Dan Marley's flip-flopped over the opposite player.
He's shooting threes in a Phoenix Suns uniform.
Exactly.
And Thunder Dan is swinging the bat right now. The official Thunder Dan.
Right. How about a little 2-out Thunder against Fultonevich? Here's the 2-2 pitch. A called strike 3, 96, right at the top of the zone. 3 strikeouts through 3 innings for Fultonevich. Scoreless. It's one of the many positions, Holly, that he plays.
Yeah, certainly, and I got to spend some time with him this afternoon, and I had a great time doing it. He is so much fun to hang out with. Broke down for me a little third, a little short, a little first base, and I'll tell you what, I learned a few things along the way, even about second base tonight.
Okay.
If he came down and everything got crazy, he said, hey, Miggy, we need you to play second real quick.
I'm playing second today. I'm starting at second base.
You don't even play second. That's what we talked about. I didn't even know that.
Yeah.
Are you're cool with it?
This is my 4th game this year at second base.
Right, I know you're not over there much. It's kind of why we skipped over. We just kind of did your big 3.
No, second base, I don't play much, but I know how to play better than third.
I mean, how good is that? That's gold. By the way, that was meant for off-camera kind of conversation, and we decided to bring it back for the Marlins fans anyway because of how it went down. I mean, we went out today again. He broke it down for me. We had a little chat at short, we had a little chat at third, over at first, and we didn't have enough time and again get into it. And Miggy is so good, and he's got so many great details that he gets into. But we, bypassed second because, well, he just hadn't been over there a whole lot. Starlin, plays there just about every day. And as we're walking off the field, he said, I said that to him. I said, I hope you don't mind that, we didn't talk too much about things. Well, I'm playing there tonight anyway. I'm like, wait, what? We should have stopped.
Right. You could see part of that interview on Sunday. South Florida Honda dealers present the Marlins Live pregame show in advance of the last game of this 4-game set. Craig Minervini, Tommy Hutton, Chef Nelson here. But again, some of that interview will be on Marlins Live, and the extended full 12-minute version will be on foxsportsflorida.com in the coming days. So Freddie Freeman, a line drive base hit. So again, our thanks to the Marlins and to Miguel Rojas for making himself available. And Holly, terrific stuff today for you as well.
Yeah, he makes it easy. Boy, oh boy, he is a joy to talk to. He's really one of the captains, not only of the defense, the offense, and of that clubhouse this year. Freddie Freeman just picked up his 28th hit versus the Marlins this season. He is creeping up on the single season record for a Brave. Most hits against the Marlins. Jason Hayward, Bruce Johnson, both have 29.
He is aboard to lead things off here in the 4th. Nick Markakis and then Johan Camargo to follow. First pitch to Markakis is upstairs. Time for Lowe's whole team together, focusing in on the Atlanta Braves and just the way that they spread around a National League leading 1,154 hits. Markakis and Freeman now even with 156 apiece, and Ozzie Albies right there 141. So the 156 leads the National League for Nick Markakis, but also a National League leading 49 multi-hit games. He's first in doubles. He's third in average. Plays an amazing right field. He was an all-star for the first time in his career.
You see the TTT on the back of Markakis' jersey. Those are his 3 sons. You see family on the patch. His 3 sons, Taylor, Tucker, and Toby.
You got 4 T's at home.
4 T's. My daughter being the 4th, Tatum. We do the 4. He's got 3. Take that, Nick. Ty, Tug, Trey, and Tatum.
Did it just so happen that way, or was that always your plan?
No, there were variables along the way. It is kind of how it turned out. I mean, it originally started that way,
right? And
then it, as it went, we were probably going to change Tatum a little bit, but at the end of the day, we didn't want to do an injustice. We were a very close family. We felt like everybody should have a team,
except your wife, who's doing all the
heavy lifting,
all the Ubering around the state.
She's doing everything
right.
all the time. Well, we didn't start down the path of M, so we felt more obligated to stay on the T path, although with Tatum we were considering the M path. Yes.
Right.
Honey, I love you.
Oh, nice. Thanks. Now, if I say the same thing, I'm just following in your footsteps. Eh?
I beat you to the punch.
You stole my thunder as I did yours in the
That's
first.
right.
Honey, I love you too. The 1-2 pitch is outside. Ripped foul. I wonder how much thought go into all of the. I mean, you see the bat for Nick Markakis. Looks like it's got like a military camouflage in there, right? So you get the bats, you've got the batting gloves, there are spikes, there's of course the nickname, there's the thank you patch on the side. I mean, this didn't come together overnight.
No.
Guys had to fill out questionnaires, I imagine, and all sorts of different things to get this right.
It had been talked about for some time. And I love it. I think it's a great weekend. The players, you know, the ability to express themselves with their batting gloves, their colors, their patches, their shoes. I think it's just so much fun to see them. You know, see the Riddler there. Love it.
Nice.
I mean, is there anything more appropriate? Right?
He went with T on the back. This one fouled back to the screen. Couldn't use Riddler because it was trademarked.
Right.
So he was able to put Riddler on the shoe.
He should wear those every day. I think he's allowed to, though, is he?
Just a T. No, probably not. It's only the A's, right, that can wear the white spikes.
Right.
Part of the uniform. 3-2 pitch. Runner goes. Markakis fouls this one down the left field line and out of play. Time for the Toyota trend. Dan Straley. Since the start of 2017, only Aaron Nola and Justin Verlander with more throws to first base.
Now 69 pitches for Dan Straley as we sit parked here in the 4th inning. 19 foul balls already tonight. This is 226th throw to first in what, the last 2 years?
Yeah. I can't believe that it shouldn't shock me, but I can't believe that gets tracked. Like, they count everything.
Mm-hmm. Sometimes you make too many throws to first, you have to come out of the game early.
Right, your pitch count goes
That's
up.
right.
Well, you threw 14 pitches. Yeah, but you were at 100 because you checked on Freeman 1,000 times.
Well, listen, Dan, he's done it quite often this season. He's got that bend, that prevent defense is what I like to call it. Bend but don't break. He will foul off. You know, you see a number of pitches on those edges. He's going to stay on the edges. He's not going to make the pitch that the hitter wants.
Fly ball out to left. Austin Dean coming in to make the catch. And back to first goes Freeman. There's the first out of the 4th.
It's easy to beat the heat when you become an energy-saving expert. Go to fpl.com/beattheheat.
Johan Camargo 1 on 1 out, takes a called strike. Camargo a double back in the 2nd inning. He was stranded there thanks to a double play a couple of batters later. Straley's looking in for the sign. It's almost like he keeps his body and his shoulders a little bit more open to make that throw to first a little bit easier, almost to quicken the pickoff throw. Another close one.
Kind of continues to give him a few jump steps over there as soon as he comes set, which is catching Dan's attention, and Dan's firing over to first. I don't know who to blame. It's definitely creating a pause in this game.
He has 2 pickoffs this year, one against Washington on July 26th and one against the Mets on August 11th. Camargo way up into the rafters here at Marlins Park. It'll be Ortega calling off Rojas at the last minute for the second out. Braves and Marlins tomorrow night exclusively on FS1. Second game of a doubleheader on FS1. In the afternoon, it will be the Nationals and the Mets, and then tomorrow night, Braves and the Marlins. Third of this 4-game set. Eric Collins and C.J. Nitkowski on the mic tomorrow. Two outs for Ozzie Albies, who walked back in the second inning, the only free pass issued by Straley to this point. And a roller to second for Rojas. That's going to do it. 3.5 in the books. Scoreless ball game. Winter is coming to Marlins Park. Join us as we celebrate Game of Thrones night on Friday, August 31st. Declare your allegiance to House Targaryen, Stark, Lannister, or Tyrell when you purchase a ticket package and receive an exclusive t-shirt with your house crest. Plus, take a photo on the famous Iron Throne. Visit marlins.com/GOT. Here you go. You got the Dire Wolves there. That's the t-shirt. Lannister Lions right there.
House names on the back.
House names on the back, right? Lannister.
Boom.
There you go. Okay. You got the other two, right?
Roses.
Roses.
Tyrell. Well, yeah, I guess you're right.
Yep. There you go. Pretty good one. And then there was a fourth. It's on the lap. No, it's not.
Why
It's
would I
very
have 3?
short.
Why would I have 3 and you have 1?
It's the Targaryen dragons. It's around here somewhere. Probably in your bag. You probably stole it.
You wish. No, but the bag's right here. It's on your lap over there.
No, it's not. I only have 1 lap, and I had 1 shirt on it. It's this one.
I didn't do anything with it.
Goodness gracious. Anyway, those are the shirts. This is the one we're currently looking for right there, the Dragons. So that's, no, right here on the big board right there. There you have it. August 31st, right here at Marlins Park. The throne will be here, the whole 9 yards.
In the Dragons t-shirt.
Right.
Will somehow make its way back here.
We'll be able to track that one down by that point in time.
I'm bothered. Where's the t-shirt? You took it, didn't you? This is a joke you're playing on me.
Did not take it. It's not even my size. It's XL. It's your size, pal.
Just return the t-shirt. Wasn't yours to take. Apparently.
If it's brought back, no one gets in trouble.
I thought I heard something about some guy wearing the Dragons t-shirt up in Park.
3 balls and 2 strikes to Rafael Ortega to lead things off. Marlins still looking for their first hit tonight. 1 trip through the order against Mike Fultonevich. Ortega, Real Muto, and Anderson. Here in inning number 4. Called strike 3, paints the inside corner. That is the 4th strikeout tonight for Fultonevich.
Dials up 97, inner third. Flowers reaching back across.
JT Realmuto a strikeout in his first trip. Well, through the first 10 batters of this game, Fultonevich has done everything to improve already good numbers over the course of his last 6 starts against the Marlins. Came in 4-1, 193 ERA in his last 6 against Miami. He has set down the first 10 in order.
I think what's been interesting to me, Marlins, top teams in baseball, they typically put the ball on the ground. You haven't put the ball on the ground once.
Out to right field, Markakis will track it down for the 2nd out.
So far this inning, all 10 pitches, 95 plus. Fultonevich. He's going hard. He's being aggressive tonight. Talking about the secondary pitches, but about pitch number 1 on, he has been very aggressive with his fastball.
Ryan Anderson, nobody on, 2 out. Takes low. But also at 97 miles an hour. Anderson a fly ball out to Inciarte in center field to end the first. Fultonevich has had such a good year. He's actually shaved a half run off of his career ERA. And that's with a bit of a rough patch earlier this year. In a 4-start stretch where he was 1-3 with a 6.94 ERA. Anderson with a line drive base hit. This will test the gap and roll all the way to the wall. Anderson on his way to second will stop there with a 2-out double and the first hit of the night for the Marlins.
Well, he's had some nice swings tonight. in that first at bat that resulted in a fly out to center field. This slider stayed up, didn't move as much. And he rips it into left center field. Good swing, good extension. First hit, first runner in scoring position tonight for the Marlins.
Now Derek Dietrich. Foltynewicz works from the stretch for the first time tonight. They got Dietrich to fly out in the second inning. I point out the fact that he works from the stretch for the first time, even though his full windup is kind of from the stretch. Doesn't really move that right foot, kind of sets it flat up against the rubber. There's a little extra rock back in there when he's in the full windup. For the most part, it's pretty similar. We're seeing that a lot these days. In fact, the guy on Sunday, Kevin Gausman, we'll talk about that more on Sunday, but has gone exclusively to the stretch in the few starts since coming over to the Braves.
Better control. I think most pitchers will tell you that they're able to maintain their mechanics because of the simplified delivery. Really, for the most part, at least generationally, this last year or two, we haven't seen too many guys who are forfeiting velocity. That used to be the one that was always kind of thrown around. I would hear it in my day, and of course you'd see a few guys do it, but if you were to do it out of the stretch, like a guy threw 95, he would only be throwing 92 that night because he was going with the going from the stretch, so there would be some drop off in velocity.
Well, then there's a guy, Paul Bird, who's doing radio for the Atlanta Braves this week. I mean, he would have all kinds of gyrations and all kinds of movement to get that momentum going. Never threw 99 miles an hour, but.
Well, he was a magician, is what he was. And so, and Birdie, who's a good friend of mine, you know, he would do that to throw the timing of the hitter off. And that's exactly what that was all about, was to get you to pick up on something. He went over his head once, the next pitch he'd go over his head twice. You know, he was always about swinging those arms and trying to distract the release point, hide the release point.
And Dietrich a base hit into center field. Anderson around third. He will score. An RBI for Dietz. And it's a 1-0 Marlins lead.
Well, how about it? Marlins take full advantage of their 2 hits. It seems like the Braves have had traffic on all night. First 2 runners. Marlins first to score. 2-seam fastball in. Good swing. Dietrich staying right through it, driving it back through the middle. Albie shading him to the pull side. That gets through clean, nothing to worry about. And Anderson scores easily off with the pitch.
Here's Austin Dean. This one skied out to shallow right field. Albies calls everybody off. Will make the play. But the Marlins, with some 2-out damage of their own against the Braves, have a 1-0 lead through 4 here at Marlins Park.
A nice big check from the Marlins before the game, $25,000. Dr. Yvonne Johnson is on the board. Florida Olympics has Special Olympics, and I know this is a special night too, with a big check to cap it off, huh?
This is an amazing night, and the Marlins are amazing partners of ours. They support us not only financially, but even more so, our Special Olympians get to come to Marlins Park and participate in a competition. It's the highlight of our year for our athletes.
Who's with us? I know we got Roy in the middle there.
So we have Roy,
Michael,
Julian.
Julian, all right, Julian, Michael, and Roy. What?
Roy has been in Special Olympics since he was 5 years old, and he's 25 now.
Absolutely great. What is most exciting about the partnership with the Marlins and Special Olympics Florida?
Well, really, it's when we get to come here and participate in a softball competition on Marlins Field. I'll tell you, as a mom of a Special Olympian, I had tears in my eyes the first time my son got to play in Marlins Park. It's really an amazing experience.
How can people watching not only enjoy some of this, but also share and support for you guys?
Well, there are always competitions around our area, and if you can come out and spectate and support, it's great. We also have opportunities to participate. We have a program called Unified Partners, and you can become a unified partner and actually compete along with our Special Olympians in a sport that you're passionate about. And it's a great way to bond, build friendships, and support Special Olympics.
Absolutely. Can we get a Go Marlins from you guys? Ready for a 1, 2, 3? 1, 2, 3.
Go
Marlins! Good job. Back to you guys.
All right, Craig, thanks.
Doc.
Excellent stuff. $25,000. Awesome. Check presentation on the field before the game. Terrific stuff. Of course, see Gabby Sanchez out there. President of Business Operations Chip Bowers out there as well. Marlins have certainly made a conscious effort to connect with the community here and doing terrific things like that. Hopefully show the community that the Marlins mean business, and absolutely great stuff. Great opportunity for all parties involved. Dansby Swanson, ball in the strike after a ground out to short. Led off this inning off the bat of Tyler Flowers. A strike there for Straley. In front of the Braves, shortstop 1 and 2. Straley got Swanson swinging in the third, and Swanson fouls it back to the screen. Nothing lead for Straley to work with here in the 5th inning, thanks to a Derek Dietrich RBI single. Swanson holds up, 2 balls and 2 strikes. In the air, right near second base. Don't trip Miggy. Able to make the play.
Join the Marlins for the biggest watch party of the season, presented by Corona Light. The Marlins take on the Boston Red Sox, Tarpon Bend and Coral Gables, Wednesday, August 29th, 6:35. Enjoy music by DJ Vertigo. Billy the Marlin win giveaways and prizes. Enjoy food and drink specials throughout the game.
Mike Fultonevich fouls it straight back, 0-1. Fulte a strikeout back in the 3rd inning, one of the 3 strikeouts tonight for Straley. Right back again. Straley at 87 pitches. 2 outs here in the 5th inning. There's been a lot of that tonight. A lot of foul balls off the bats of the Braves, but the Camargo double followed by the Albies walk in the 2nd. Worked around a double in the 3rd. And a single in the 4th. Gets the strikeout of Folty to end the 5th. 5 scoreless for Dan Straley. He's up 1-0. Florida is brought to you by Southwest. Transparency, low fares, nothing to hide. The Cleveland Clinic. Stiff joints, aches and pains. Trust Cleveland Clinic, Florida, the #1 orthopedic care in Florida. And by Simply Healthcare. Live the Simply life. Nice night here inside at Marlins Park. Roof and windows closed. Second game of a 4-game set. Paul Severino, Todd Hollandsworth, Craig Minervini here with you on a Friday night. Low-scoring affair to this point, midway through it. Mike Foltynewicz will face JT Riddle, Miguel Rojas, and Magneuris Sierra in the 5th. Miami up 1-0 thanks to a Dietrich RBI single in the 4th. Riddle 0 for 1 tonight with a fly ball out to left in the 2nd. Two hits allowed. They were back-to-back in the 4th inning. Foltynewicz comes into this ball game with a career low 6.9 hits per 9, which is -3 from last year. He's at 9.9 hits per 9. Down under 7.
I think it's just so interesting. You know, you look at the transformation that Foltynewicz has made, not just from being solid big league starter, maybe number 3, number 4, that threw hard last year to, as I said, if you were going to go top 5 in the National League, again, I'm not debating the top 3 guys. I'm just saying if you were going top 5, I think it includes this man. Foltynewicz has been putting together an outstanding season, and I can promise you this: game 1 of the postseason, if they find themselves in it, he's probably getting the ball. Leadoff walk, JT.
Now, Geico presents this day in Marlins history, August 24th, 2016. Jose Fernandez, a franchise record for strikeouts in the season, and 9 strikeouts in 7 scoreless innings. Ended the season with 253 strikeouts, surpassing Ryan Dempster at 209 in 2000. Rojas. The first walk issued by Foltynewicz here tonight. Rojas will pop up to Freddie Freeman back in the third. You just mentioned if the Braves make the postseason, I know where you're going with that, but they have a terrific chance. I was looking at the playoff odds today. They have a 60% chance of making it to the postseason, or excuse me, of winning the National League East. It's a 3-game difference right now on the Philadelphia Phillies, who are currently down 4-1 in the 5th inning in Toronto. Brian Snitker has this team set up very nicely. In fact, their next win, Braves' next win, will surpass their 2017 win total.
72-90 last year.
Yeah, it's been quite a turnaround. A couple of lean years in Atlanta. But they are loaded for bear right now.
Oh, and I think what's been impressive here in the month of August is the way that they've been winning their ball games. I think coming even into the Marlins series, fresh off losing 4 in a row to the Colorado Rockies, you know, the offense maybe hit a little bit of a lull. Things weren't going nearly as well as they had been. Point being, the pitching stepped up at Pittsburgh and helped them sweep a series. And that is always a key ingredient to believe in a team, and a team that has a chance to win. We always talk about having a way to win. Well, listen, everybody's got a style, but you find that the teams that end up in the 90s when it comes to the win total, they win a variety of games.
Rojas chases that one for the 5th strikeout tonight for Foltynewicz. One away here in the 5th. The Braves 41-19 against the National League East. 18-8 in one-run games. They have the best winning percentage among any National League team on the road. 38-27.
Well, I think on top of that, I would pair the two that I was talking about a little bit last night. You mentioned their record in one-run ball games. They also lead the National League in runs scored. So what does that tell you? You know, they can do it a lot of different ways.
Sierra popped out to Freeman back in the 3rd. On the ground, Albies to Swanson, and a big stretch by Freeman, but Sierra able to beat it out. Few do it better than Freddie Freeman at first base.
Well, Freddie's long arms, long legs, the ability to go out and get the baseball, and even with Sierra running, made this probably a little bit closer than most of us thought it would be. Typically you see a ball on the ground and you're like, yeah, you're not doubling up Sierra. JT moving, sees the ball down. As I mentioned at the beginning of the ball game, Swanson and Albies, they're both pretty good at turning that double play. Turned 43 this season. That is second most in Major League Baseball.
That one low to Straley. Struck out back in the 3rd. second deck, 1 and 2. It's really 5 for 29 this year. Has a double, 6 walks. To extend this 5th inning. Throw to first, and Sierra's back. On 2-2, Straley gets his hands in on that one, fights it off down the right side. All sorts of paraphernalia flying there. That guy lost his hat, but got the ball. That's good. And his finger. What's this effort? Right. Oh, he did catch it with the hat.
Yeah.
Terrific.
Ball stayed in the hat. Just lost the hat.
They already got ice. Balls and 2 strikes, runner goes, doesn't matter. Straley works the walk, his 7th free pass of the year.
How about that? Nice at bat by Dan Straley. Fought off a couple of tough fastballs inside. Keeps that on base percentage up over 300.
2 on for the top of the order. Last couple of innings, the Marlins have made Foltynewicz work. 9 pitches in the second inning after a 17-pitch first inning, but the last 2 over 20. Got 2 on and 2 out for Rafael Ortega, who he has retired twice, a fly ball and a strikeout in the 4th. Ortega with an 8-game hit streak, a new career high. Two outs and the great speed of Sierra at second. Anything to the outfield, if it gets through, should easily score Sierra. Or take it down to the count 0-1. Didn't get their first hit or base runner until a Brian Anderson double in the 4th. They've had some traffic in the last couple of innings against Foltynewicz.
Certainly driving up his pitch count, making him work. They're sailing for 3 innings.
He's lost the plate a little bit in this inning. Couple of walks. Ortega, excuse me, swing there. 2-2.
That's a pretty good example of what Foltynewicz can do at times. Sneaks in a changeup. Hasn't thrown too many of those tonight. Right pitch, right spot. Ortega certainly has shown the ability to turn around velocity.
It's another thing that Ortega does. He will work a good at bat. We talked about that before the game today. So many times Ortega find himself down 0-2 and then end up, making the pitcher throw some extra pitches, maybe get a walk. Here, though, he comes up empty. Foltynewicz works into and out of trouble in the 5th. Marlins strand a pair, but lead this one 1-0 as we go to the 6th in Miami. On a Sunday night a couple of weeks ago, and a walk-off solo shot in the bottom of the 10th this afternoon at Wrigley Field off Raisel Iglesias. He had never, he said afterwards in the interview that night a couple of weeks ago, he had never had a walk-off home run in his career anywhere. Right. He's got 2 in 2 weeks.
And you can almost see the confidence as he's running around the bases there. Even if you back up to the swing, and of course Iglesias, I mean, he's got an electric arm for the Cincinnati Reds, backs up the slider, but that was an 0-2 pitch. I mean, there was no sign of concern. Usually you think 0-2 swing and it's defensive. Protect the plate, put the ball in play. He was like, yeah, if he makes a mistake here, I'll do it again. Got him.
Oh, yeah. Big time. Another win for the Chicago Cubs. Florida Lottery in-game jackpot. The opponent batting average on balls in play is at 149 when going through the lineup for a 3rd time. That is tops in Major League Baseball. How about that, Holly?
We've been tracking this. Dan, you continue to tell me, I said, you're like a fine wine, man. You pop the cork and you just get better. I said, can you go a 4th time through the lineup? He looks at me like, don't tell me the numbers I don't want to know. It's kind of Dan, how Dan goes about his business. Well, we saw him labor early, which
Acuna Jr. and from the glove, Straley makes the play. How about that?
I'll tell you what, this is a pretty special play, and he made it look easy. Acuna's got great speed, so he's out in front, all with 1 motion and 1 glove. Sure, it's your fresh catch of the day, Bonefish Grill. How about it? Step and toss. He uses the right hand to pitch, doesn't need it to get outs. Use the glove.
So they retire Acuna to lead off the 6th. He had doubled earlier in this ball game. That'll bring up Inciarte.
Do you remember our conversation? I think it was last start. We were like, what's the deal with Dan Straley's blue glove?
Yeah.
Do you get it now?
Now I get it.
He was just wearing it a start early.
Breaking it in, maybe.
That's right.
I like that. Matches the players' weekend unis.
Problem is, it doesn't match the Marlins road unis.
It's true. True.
All caught our attention. We're like, oh, there's something special about the glove. We couldn't get to the bottom of it.
It's all coming together now.
Sure it is. So is Dan Straley. He's a big fan of 3rd time through the lineup.
strikes, 30 balls of the 92 pitches thrown. 5 1/3 tonight against the Atlanta Braves. A 1-0 lead. And Ciarte in the air, right center field. Ortega has room on the track for the second out. Time for the Chevrolet Prospect Spotlight. Nestor Bautista, 33 games this season, pitching to a 2.88 ERA. A 32nd round pick out of Ball State by the Marlins in 2014. That was the Greensboro Grasshoppers. Will Banfield, 1 for 3, has hit 4 straight games, one of their top draft picks this year.
I would love to pick up on things here at Marlins Park, and we certainly know the hitters get frustrated, but I mean, you can clearly see, like Inciarte, I saw him get out of the box after the deep fly ball to right center field, where that ball's probably gone in most parks. His reaction sometimes priceless. You see him drop his head and kind of slam his bat, and he hit it a long way, just not in this ballpark.
2-1 to Freddie Freeman is outside. Well, we had a team in here for a couple of days during the week, the New York Yankees, who were rudely greeted by the not so short porch here at Marlins Park.
Well, it's funny when you run across a team that doesn't come through South Florida too often.
Sierra in center will make the play. And a 1-2-3 6th inning for Dan Straley. Brought the Thunder and the Lightning tonight. 1-0. Sixth, a Major League Baseball doubleheader tomorrow on FS1. First, an NLE showdown. Bryce Harper and the Nationals take on the Mets. And then Freddie Freeman and the Braves against the Marlins here in Miami. Starts at 3:30 Eastern on FS1, or stream it live on the Fox Sports app. So tomorrow night's Braves-Marlins game exclusively on FS1. It'll be Eric Collins and C.J. Nitkowski on the call tomorrow night. 6 crisp innings from Dan Straley. 98 pitches. What do you think? Is he out for the 7th?
No.
No.
Yeah, I think it ended well. I mean, again, he was working hard. We were talking about the pace of the ball game early, as you see Guerrero up in the bullpen. See the 0, and I think a lot of times we just assume, okay, there's a 0, this was easy going. I mean, that really isn't the case. You go back to that 2nd inning, even the 3rd and the 4th, there was traffic out there, and he was working hard to get through it. 88 pitches, first and second time through the lineup.
Romuto out to center for Inciarte.
It's easy to beat the heat when you become an energy-saving expert. Go to FPL.com/beattheheat.
One out here in the sixth. That'll bring up Brian Anderson. Got the Marlins' first hit of the ball game back in the fourth inning. Came around to score. One batter later. Well, if that is it for Straley, a nice bounce back. As we mentioned before, his last 5 starts at a 6.39 ERA. Opponents hitting .306 off of him. Surrendered just 3 hits against this potent Braves lineup through the first 6 innings tonight.
I always find it so interesting with Dan. He's got the ability to kind of change the theme of the start. There aren't too many guys who traditionally do that. A lot of times you'll see a guy laboring early in the ball game, and it will be a labor for however long he's out there. A lot of times you'll see a guy come out, maybe there's a 10-pitch first inning. It's usually pretty clear sailing for a while. Well, then maybe he runs into some trouble as the start goes on, or maybe that third time through. But I've seen a number of times this year, Dan will bob and weave those first 2, 3, 4 innings. A little bit of traffic, make a pitch here, get a double play there, get himself out. Next thing you know, you look up at the scoreboard, you're like, well, I wasn't sure he was going to get through 5 with 110 pitches, and he ends up getting through 6 with 98.
Yeah.
10-pitch first inning, 10-pitch 6th inning. So you do the math, everything in between, 78 pitches to do the other 4.
Well, arrive early to Marlins Park tomorrow. Receive a Players Weekend giveaway presented by Pepsi at the gates. Visit marlins.com/giveaways to purchase your tickets today. On the ground, and Camargo bobbles it. Looked like a routine play, and on the transfer, the ball just popped out of his hand, and Anderson will reach.
Well, he picks it clean, and he's creating momentum with his throw, with his footwork towards first base, and in the exchange ends up dropping the baseball. You'll see he does come up with it clean. This ball hit pretty hard. It's as he's making that move towards first that he loses the handle. He even tried to kind of throw it to his throwing arm, his throwing hand. That's where the E comes in. There you go.
Just the 64th error this year for the Atlanta Braves. Derek Dietrich. 1 on and 1 out here in the 6th inning. Take you back to the 4th inning. Dietz goes up the middle.
Yeah, this is a pretty good swing on a tough pitch to handle. It's a 98-mile-an-hour two-seam fastball with run action. It started out a little bit in to him just a bit, but my goodness, it's a pretty nice swing.
Tomorrow at the gates with the Players Weekend jerseys. Should also mention what's coming up on Sunday here at Marlins Park. Complimentary admission for the game, fans 18 and under, if you're wearing your team uniform. So in honor of Players Weekend, anybody 18 years or younger in their youth baseball or softball uniform, 2 complimentary tickets to Sunday's game. Free baseball, folks. Sam Freeman up for the Braves in their pen. As Foltynewicz is up over 100 pitches here with 1 out in the 6th inning. Good pass at that one, but just missed it. Still 2-2. on and missed, 97 miles an hour. The 7th strikeout tonight for Foltynewicz. 2 outs.
Foltynewicz got burned with this pitch to the inside part of the plate against Dietrich. His last time up, decided to stay away. Let the fastball run off the outside edge. Seen it a couple of different times to the lefties tonight. Ortega's last at bat, same exact pitch, two-seamer with running action at 97 on the edge.
Here's Austin Dean. Takes a strike. Struck out in the 2nd and popped out in the 4th. Foltynewicz rather at 105 pitches. He's gotten as high as 113 on 3 occasions, including his last 2 starts. That one all the way to the backstop, and up to 2nd goes Anderson.
Well, it's interesting. I mentioned it earlier. I'll mention it again. Foltynewicz, he's having a pretty incredible season for the Atlanta Braves, but has never gone 7 innings in a start, 3 consecutive starts. He is in the 6th and well over 100 pitches. This looking like it will be his last inning. Of course, had gone 8 against the Marlins and 7 against the Rockies his last 2 starts.
Again on the inside corner, 1-2. Three times on the inside corner. And Dean goes down looking to end the 6th inning. But it's the Marlins in front as we go to the 7th. Marlins through a really tough Braves lineup, kept him quiet throughout his 6 innings of work. 3 hits, a walk, and 4 strikeouts. There was some traffic, but able to work around it for a pretty good portion of the night. Avoided any major damage, pitching in a pitcher's duel to this point, making some nice defensive plays as well. And his night is done after 6 innings of work. So Thunder Dan Straley hands things over to Teheran Guerrero, and a 1-0 lead for the Marlins to work with. Nick Markakis, Johan Camargo, and Ozzie Albies as El de Boca Chica. Teheran Guerrero pitching in his 52nd game this season. We'll see if the velocity is there again after a night off last night, but 29 of the 38 pitches he threw in the 2 games against the Yankees, over 100 miles per hour.
Yeah, he's been dialing it up an awful lot lately. Last 7 days, he's got 63 of those 100-mile-an-hour plus fastballs.
That one low and in to Markakis and all the way to the backstop. Listen, he's always thrown hard. We know that. But it seems like the last handful of times out, there's just been that extra little gear. You know, 100's fast, but we've seen him get to 104 a number of times. Balls and no strikes now to Markakis. Grounded out to Dietrich in the second, flew out to left field in the fourth.
Markakis, the one probably most responsible for driving up Straley's pitch count as he works himself ahead in the count. 3-0 against Guerrero. Saw 19 pitches against Thunder tonight.
Well, it seems as though I peaked too soon as Straley was coming off the mound. You know, 1, 2, 3, 6th inning. I said he's been the Thunder and the Lightning tonight. Probably should have waited until, you know, 104 came in the game.
Right.
That's
I knew where you were going, though. Yeah. And you weren't completely sold on Guerrero coming into the ball game quite yet.
Wasn't sure.
Just waiting on when you were going to slide Lightning into the Thunder package.
Yeah. Stuff writes itself sometimes. That's right, it does. They've got the benefit of the call there, but he'll take it. And the count runs full, 3-2. Here it comes. And a little low. Just about the same spot as strike 2, but it is ball 4. Guerrero tries to laugh this one off.
Well, you feel like you're splitting hairs, don't you? Right? I mean, it's two identical pitches. We are talking pitching. We are talking high velocity. Not sure how I would describe the difference between one from the other than one is a ball and one is a strike somehow.
There's Johan Camargo. 100 low and away, but in there for a strike.
I'll give you both pitches. That was the strike. That was the ball. What do you got?
I got ball 4 was arguably better than strike 2. Back to back at 100 against Camargo. He doubled in the second and flew out in the fourth. Camargo with 8 doubles this year against the Marlins. 23 of 56 this year. Week in Atlanta, Johan Camargo going deep. Home run over that brick wall in right center field. It's a second of 2 home runs this year against Miami. Came against Guerrero at SunTrust Park. Here's the 0-2 pitch outside. Left side, Anderson in foul territory will make the play. Let's check in with Craig.
Paul, I can't tell you the smile that Teron Guerrero had when he showed me that jersey that he's wearing, El de Boca Chica. He said, I'm very proud to be wearing this in a major league game. He almost couldn't believe it, representing all of his friends, his family, his townspeople from that small island off the coast of Colombia. It's about a 25-minute ferry ride, he said, from Cartagena, and a place not many people get to. In fact, it was tricky for him, as we've talked about many times, to get to baseball practice and get back to where he grew up. So it's very neat for him to enjoy this Players Weekend in a unique way, representing his homeland.
Yeah, Craig, thanks. It is interesting. You know, some are just fun nicknames and some mean a little bit more. You know, there's certainly the names that are on the back or the thank you patches that are on the sleeve. But a terrific thing that Major League Baseball has done the last couple of years, allowing the players, albeit 3 days, but just to express themselves in a little bit of a different way. Ozzie Albies walk in the second and a ground out in the fourth.
As you had mentioned, Albies has been struggling just a bit coming into tonight's play. 6 for his last 37. He's trying to be a little bit more patient. We've seen in the first 2 games of this 4-game series. In fact, walked last night, walked tonight. It's the first time he's walked in consecutive games. He's going to go all the way back to late May.
Ball and 2 strikes, and that one misses. I certainly don't want to disparage the season that he's had. 21 homers, 62 RBIs, hitting .272, very respectable for sure, an all-star this year. But it seems like it's been something of a front-loaded year. It almost feels like, and again, we don't see the Braves every day, but that the struggles have gone on a little bit more than the hot bat in the early part of the year.
Now, listen, first big league season. I think Brian Anderson's dealing with this a little bit. You see a lot of young guys, you know, that extra month that's right around the corner. You still have 30+ ball games left. Minor league season doesn't go quite as long, but I can promise you this, you generally work twice as hard here at the major league level because you care so much, and that's just the mindset of most young players. I went through it a little bit. You know, you run out of gas and you can't get it back.
Albies to left center field. Dean gives way to Sierra, who makes the play for the second out. Well, Albies played in 57 games with the Braves last year after a minor league season. He hit .286 in those games. But yeah, I mean, at the big league level, and not just a player on a team, you know, number 23,
right,
24, 25. I mean, he's been at times a leadoff hitter or a number 2 hitter in front of Freddie Freeman. He has been asked to do an awful lot this year.
You also have to remember how adrenaline factors into a young player's you know, time. We talk about this really all the time. You see with Brian Anderson, adrenaline is natural. You create it and you have it before every ball game. Point is, the more you do it up here at the big league level, you don't always have as much. Like my first season, every day felt like a playoff game. Every game I played my rookie season. For Tim Wallach, who was my teammate at the time, game number 150 was like the 2000th game he played in his life. You know what I mean? It's
right,
just different. And so younger players feel it, and a lot of times what you see is a player gets to the end of the season and that last 30 or so games can be tough on the young player if, you know, he's been playing every day. Right, Anderson's been doing that. Albies has been doing that. You look around baseball. A lot of the guys that have, sometimes late August and September can be tough.
Nothing in 2 to Flowers. Flowers out to left center field. Dean will have room to make the catch on the track. Guerrero strands one, 1-0. Hernandez start the game last night, placed on the disabled list with a blister. Harlan Garcia, a right shin contusion after a comebacker last night. And then Kyle Bearclaw activated from the DL. Ben Meyer is back from AAA as well. And of course, Kyle Bearclaw had a little bit of that back issue going on. There's also a pocket of time where he was a little ineffective too, and kind of got out of that closer's role for a little while before going onto the disabled list. And now we'll start to figure out perhaps who will get, in this situation, a 1-0 game in the 8th and the 9th inning. Who will get those roles on the Marlins side? It'll be Sam Freeman in his 51st game for Atlanta this season. But we've got, Steckenrider, we've got Conley, we've got Brzezinski, we've got Bearclaw, but it looks like it is Steckenrider who is up for the 8th.
I'm going to go with Steckenrider.
So he'll pitch the 8th. If it stays a stave situation in the 9th, who do you think gets it?
I'll let you know.
Okay, thanks. Amazing. Well, of course, I asked because we heard from Don Mattingly over the last couple of days, and today he reiterated it with the activation of Bearclaw, that try to get Bearclaw into some lower leverage situations as they get him back.
You ready?
Yeah.
Conley.
Okay.
Well, and here's why. You're working towards the bottom of the Braves lineup currently in the 8th. You've got a few righties. You've got Culberson sitting on the bench. You're going to roll this thing right back around to the top, and you're going to have to go through those lefties one more time once you get past Acuna. You got Inciarte, Freeman, Markakis, Camargo all sitting right in a row. Albies as well. You know who pitches that? You know who's going right there? That's going to be Conley's spot.
All right. JT Riddle, Miguel Rojas, and Magneuris Sierra here in the 7th against the lefty Sam Freeman. After 6 innings of work from Mike Foltynewicz. Final line on Folty: 6 innings, 2 hits, a run, couple of walks, 8 strikeouts. Got on and missed. And there is one away in the 7th. Braves just got Freeman back a couple of days ago. Had left shoulder inflammation, missed 20 games. Face Miguel Rojas with nobody on and 1 out in the 7th. Miguel will pop up in a strikeout tonight.
Well, from Freeman, Rojas will probably see 4-seam fastballs, that 94 to 96 range. The splitty, likes to throw it about 37% of the time. Occasional slider.
One to Rojas. Out to center field, and that one's going to fall in for a base hit. A 1-out knock for Miggy Rowe.
Now back-to-back split fingers from Freeman. The second one resulting in a base hit for Miguel Rojas. Nice job staying level. The tumbling splitting. Didn't pop that up just enough. Stayed through it, able to get a base hit into center field. We'll bring up Isaac Galloway. He's over 2 pinch hitting this season. 310 on the year.
Galloway hits for Sierra. Was 0 for 2 in tonight's ball game, and out to the mound comes Brian Snitker. He's going to go to the bullpen. The Florida Lottery calling to the bullpen. Dan Winkler in 1-0. The Florida Lottery are a new spin on a classic. They're loaded with prizes from $10,000 to $2 million, so unleash the excitement anytime. The Florida Lottery. It's your ticket. Must be 18 or older to play. Play responsibly. So Winkler in his 57th game this season, ERA of 2.61. He will face Isaac Galloway with Miguel Rojas on at first after a one-out base hit.
Well, for Winkler, four-seam fastball. Doesn't throw quite as hard as Freeman at 92-93 range. Likes to throw that cutter and slider combination as well.
Marlins have had a tough time breaking through against the Braves bullpen this year. There's a strike. Entering today 53 2/3 innings. Braves bullpen a 151 ERA, 185 batting average against the Marlins. Rojas a base hit a moment ago, leads away from first. A ball and a strike.
Well, he has stayed with the slider cutter combination. There gets Galloway. Cutter in the 91 range, slider 82-84.
Comes the 2-2 pitch. Galloway chops one up the middle. Swanson from his glove just kind of flicked it over to Albies to get the lead runner Rojas for the second out. Well, terrific effort just to keep it on the infield, A, and then B, just kind of shovel it over.
Well, how about redirect? And I'll tell you, if this ball gets through, it's first and third. My goodness, that's a pretty nice play by Swanson. That second hop right there really didn't even bother getting it to his right hand, just flipped it back to Albies. Starlin Castro is going to get the pinch hit appearance. His batting average on the season, 285, 338 on base percentage. This is his first pinch hit appearance in 2018. He does have 6 pinch hits in his career.
So what you're telling me, when he gets a day off, and they are rare, he gets the day off.
Usually, certainly what you like to see. Most guys like it that way. I'll tell you what, Starlin can hit any time of day, any day of the week. Been watching most of his career, going all the way back to his days in Chicago. This man can roll out of bed and get a base hit.
I always like watching him take batting practice, because to me he reminds me of like Fred Couples. That first round of batting practice, it's just like barrel on the ball, just very easy, just kind of warming up. But it's just like rockets to the gap, just like Freddie Couples. Very easy swings, and then it's like 325 down the middle of the fairway.
Such a young man, he's been doing this a long time. We'll forget how young he was when he got to the big leagues. Looks like Acuna just a few months older.
Pops this one up behind home plate. Flowers runs out of room. Last 9 appearances for Winkler have been scoreless. Registered his 13th strikeout in that span. Castro will look to battle with 2 strikes and 2 outs. Cut on and missed. Got him above the strike zone. This game goes to the 8th at Marlins Park. 1-0 Miami. Tonight we focus in on Corey Kluber, the ace of the Cleveland Indians. One of the organizations that he supports, the Carhartt starting rotation and the Cleveland Veterans Administration. Isaac Galloway stays in the ballgame to patrol center field. A straight up switch for Sierra. And Drew Steckenrider on to pitch the 8th inning. 59th game for Steck. He'll face 8, 9, and 1 for the Braves.
Steck pitching on a couple of days rest. Fastball 94, 96. Slider in the 88 to 90 range. So it's Swanson here. And
And Charlie Culberson currently in the on-deck circle as Swanson flies one out. Behind third, it will be Riddle for the first out.
Enhance your next game day experience with the MLB Ballpark app. Access and manage your tickets, enjoy check-in offers, exclusive content, and much more. Download the MLB Ballpark app today.
So here is Charlie Culberson. Off the bench for the Braves. 15 for 30 this year against the Marlins.
4 for 28 as a pinch hitter, though. This is one area of his game that has struggled a bit this year. I say that with caution because he's got, of his 4 hits, 2 pinch hit walk-off homers. Thankfully, we are not in Atlanta.
Steckenrider quickly ahead of Culberson. 0-2. Just one at-bats worth of history between these two. Culberson 1 for 1. Right side, giving chase Dietrich, and that one's going to be caught in the second row. One up just yet for the Marlins. We'll keep an eye on that as to if this score holds. Get the 9th inning. Again, Kyle Bearclaw back, but doesn't sound like he's going to get save duties immediately upon his return. Called strike 3 on the outside corner to get the red-hot Culberson 2 away.
I'll tell you what, I haven't seen Steck do this too many times this season. It's really not in his game plan, really, to almost pitch backwards, and you see it here. Absolutely in this pinch hit appearance by Culberson. 3 consecutive sliders followed up by the fastballs. You certainly know that Culberson can turn around velocity, but the velocity plays up once you see 2 or 3 breaking balls in a row. Well done.
Well, here is Ronald Acuna Jr., a double back in the third. Called strike at 96. Statcast AI powered by AWS. You see why the Marlins have 3 infielders on the left side of the infield. Distribution of balls in play on the ground off the bat of Acuna Jr., who takes a called strike 3. Steckenrider with back-to-back strikeouts to end the 8th. Sets the Braves down 1-2-3 as he freezes the youngster. West. Transparency, low fares, nothing to hide. By Lincoln. Join the Lincoln Summer Invitation Sales Event. By your South Florida Honda dealers. Really exciting night of baseball here at Marlins Park. A 1-0 Marlins lead. Not much in terms of hits, 3 for each side. Drew Steckenrider, a great inning. Talking about why the pitches were moving a certain way, perhaps. The finger pressure and why the balls were moving a certain way. Brad Brock to take over. Ortega fouls that one off at the plate on the bunt attempt. 0-1. Ortega 0 for 3 to this point. Fly out, 2 strikeouts. It's an 8-game hit streak. Currently on the line against Brad Brock.
Now B-Rad has allowed just 1 earned run in 11 appearances for the Atlanta Braves. So he has been a welcome addition to the bullpen.
Ortega in the air out to right field. Back a few steps and now in is Markakis for the first out. As expected by the man to my right, it is Adam Conley loosening for the 9th inning. It's Ciarte, Freeman, Markakis.
Lefty, lefty, lefty. There you go. Now for Brock, 4-seam fastball, change and a slider. Gets it up there pretty good. 495 miles an hour. Hey.
JT Realmuto 0 for 3 tonight. Still without a hit on this homestand. The 1-1. And there for a called strike.
Brock has been, as I mentioned, a welcome addition to the Braves bullpen. .87 ERA. He's been closing for the Baltimore Orioles, had been doing so for the last couple of seasons, 11-13 this season. I'm sure he will probably end up with some opportunities to close before the season's over. A.J. Minter dealing with some lower back tightness. Still believe he is their closer, though I think that Brock will probably get some opportunities as well as he's been throwing the baseball.
Payoff pitch on the way to JT. Fouled straight back.
Picked up 10 wins in relief for the Baltimore Orioles in 2016. A 2.05 ERA and went to the All-Star game.
In relief, not easy to do.
Yeah, they call you usually pick up a nickname, something like a vulture,
wins,
or a bird of that type.
Bird of prey.
Yes.
JT Realmuto works the walk. 1 on and 1 out for Brian Anderson here in the 8th. Double in the 4th, came around to score. Right now, that is the difference in this ball game. Also reached on an error in the 6th.
Ball hard off Foltynewicz tonight. Some good at bats.
He's got about 5 weeks to try to catch Hanley Ramirez. Going to have to get hot. 40 multi-hit games for Anderson. Hanley Ramirez the record with 55 multi-hit games in 2006.
Well,
among rookies.
If I were a betting man, Paul, I really do mean this when I said I know tonight, you see 1 for 3, and obviously this is his 4th at bat, but the at-bats pretty good tonight. His style of approach, fouling off some tough pitches, high velocity, working a good slider that he could handle, also hit a couple fastballs hard.
How about JT Realmuto with the stolen base? Snuck up on Brock and Flowers, perhaps.
Well, no doubt. Pretty good jump. Good 3-4 step. Lead and break off the bag as Brock was making his way towards home. By JT.
Second steal this year. Had 8 last year, 12 the year before. And in scoring position for one of the best in the game. 3-1.
That's absolutely right. Hitting .385. That's 4th in Major League Baseball. He's got 40 hits in this situation, although he's cooled down just a bit. Still leads the National League.
Hitters count 3-1. And Anderson works the walk, back-to-back walks. Two on and 1 out for Derek Dietrich. But first, a meeting from the pitching coach, Chuck Hernandez. Standing by in center field, awaiting the WB Mason Marlins Live postgame show. Hello, Craig Minervini, Tommy Hutt, Jeff Nelson in the gang. We'll hear from Don Mattingly after this one. What is sure to be a fun finish here. Dietrich with the lone RBI back in the 4th inning. The Braves 3 up on the Philadelphia Phillies in the National League East. The Phillies trailing the Blue Jays 4-2 in the 9th inning right now, but the Phillies rallying, as are the Marlins here, as that one gets away from Flowers and both runners advance.
Well, that one pitch changes the dynamics of this entire inning, maybe even the course of this game. We'll ultimately see. It's the changeup. Brock, wild pitch, gets away from Flowers, but the runner is able to move up. Now Dietrich is going to be put on intentionally to load the bases.
So officially 3 straight walks, and that will bring up Austin Dean. Been up with the bases loaded a few times this week on the homestand. Right?
Yeah, I was just pondering his nickname.
Yeah, Dean. He's just Dean. Not Dino.
I love it. Think about it.
Dean.
It's like reverse psychology. Right. I got you.
They checked with C.B. Buckner, and that is a swing. 0-1. Overhead. Close. Probably went. Braves have the corners in as Dean fouls that one back to the screen. Freeman even with the bag. Camargo is a step behind the third base bag, but he's just looking to hit something hard somewhere.
Yeah, the challenge will be, as Brock tries to stay vertical in the strike zone. Pick up the strikeout. He likes to go up with the fastball, the four-seamer, or down with the changeup.
Comes the 0-2 pitch, swung on and missed. Second out of the inning here in the eighth.
Now, true to form, Brock does exactly the numbers tell you. He wants to climb the ladder top of the strike zone with the velocity.
So here's JT Riddle. 0 for 2 with a walk, has that 6-game hit streak that he would like to extend. Also like to extend this 1-run lead. When this is low, a ball and no strikes. Realmuto, Anderson, Dietrich, your runners third to first. Out to left field. Acuna was in, moving back toward the corner, but able to recover. A long run to track that one down, and Adam Conley is going to try to save a 1-0 Marlins lead. Three lefties. Ender Inciarte, Freddie Freeman, Nick Markakis in a 1-0 Marlins game as Yadiel Rivera stays in the game. He'll take over at second base. And Miguel Rojas moves over a few feet over to first.
True to form. Rivera getting into the ball game. You see Adam Conley now on the mound. Rivera making his 27th defensive replacement this season. That leads the National League.
'40th game for Conley. Opponent's hitting .199. He's got one career save. Looking for number 2 here.
Well, he's got to deal with a pinch hitter to start the 9th. Dynamic that we had mentioned a few different times. Of course, Inciarte gets the bulk of the playing time and almost all of the starts exclusively since the trade, but you see Duvall making his way to the batter's box. Pinch hitting this season, 5 for 22. He's got 3 RBIs, 2 for 8 with Atlanta. He does have 3 career pinch hit home runs.
The one save for Conley came against the Rays in St. Pete right after the All-Star break, as he starts Adam Duvall with a strike. Oh, 0-2.
Yeah, I love the sequencing. First pitch fastball off the edge, 95 miles an hour, and then the great changeup from Conley at 87, which is certainly a little bit more plate. Lacks the velocity.
In the dirt, blocked by a Real Muto, a ball and 2 strikes. Ciarte was 3 for 14 against Conley. Duvall 2 for 5 with a couple of home runs. The other 3 at-bats, strikeouts. Duvall, right field. Ortega leaps and makes the catch at the wall for the first out. Ooh, just enough real estate.
Oh, my goodness gracious. Thank you, Marlin Park. There you go. Well, pretty good swing by Duvall. Deep drive to right. And the best part about this catch, Ortega does a nice job of getting himself into position for any of the variables that might come as the ball comes down. That ball's a little deeper, more towards the wall. He can jump, he can go back just a little bit. You see the concentration in the eyes. Great catch.
Here's Freddie Freeman. Outside, a ball and a strike. Freeman tonight a base hit in the 4th inning. 7 for 17, a double, and a home run against Conley in his career. Out to center. In is Galloway. 2 outs. Nick Markakis, the last thing standing in between the Marlins and snapping this 7-game losing streak against the Braves. Just 2 for 15 in his career against Adam Conley. Oh, 0-1. On the ground, Riddle got him, and it's a Marlins win. They shut out the Braves 1-0 to snap a 7-game skid against Atlanta. Dan Straley sets the tone. He's got 3 of the 4 wins.
Go figure, right? Fantastic outing by Dan Straley. Settled in, made some pitches early, battled. 1 run. Who would have thought tonight 1 run would be enough against the Atlanta Braves?
The Coors Light refreshing finish. Adam Conley picks up the save as he sets the Braves down 1-2-3, preserves the win for Dan Straley, his 5th and his 3rd against the Atlanta Braves this year. Marlins have only won 4 games against the Bravos. The last time the Marlins beat the Braves 1-0 April 22nd, 2014 in Atlanta. We'll catch up with Adam Conley on the WB Mason Marlins Live postgame show after the break.